All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Wonderful. All right, everyone. Well, welcome to our How to Create a Winning Social Media Strategy in 2025. We are super excited to have this. We do webinars every single month, and it's always a really great way for us to be able to educate our local business owners, entrepreneurs, marketers on how they can be more effective on social media. And 2025 it's a big year, and there has already been a ton going on that I'm sure you guys have already heard a little blips and pieces of, which we're going to talk about and talk about just how it affects the social media world and how we can be more effective moving forward in this digital day and age that changes at a flip of a script. So we are gonna get into the nitty gritty, but just in case you don't know me, because there are a couple new faces, my name is Lucy McGuire, and I am a social media coach and strategist. I founded Get Real Social in 2022, and it has been quite a journey. I have been in the marketing space for over nearly a decade now, which has been very exciting and interesting because I never anticipated ever getting into marketing. And I started in the marketing realm with pizza, with Papa John's, and then went into title insurance, which it doesn't make sense why those two go together, and then ended up in the social media world. So it went from like pizza, title, social media. Doesn't feel like it makes sense, but social media has always kind of been there. But obviously, as time has gone on, the importance of social media has changed, especially with the pandemic, which has shifted us, in my opinion, at least 10 years into the future, just with the pandemic alone. But then now you add a layer of AI, and now we're in a completely different era than we were before with everything there. So that's why I always like to start off these webinars and my classes with the one thing in life that is constant and is change. And if you are in the marketing era or the entrepreneur industry, you know that that is completely true, and we have to be adaptable. So I'm glad you guys are here to take the next steps of how you can be more effective on social media. Our company actually specializes in organic content strategies, so we do not focus on the ad side of things. We're always looking at how we can create a relationship and create effective content that actually gets in front of our target audience and converts them into clients, but also builds a community around what we do. So I am born and raised in Jensen Beach. If you guys know Jensen Beach High School is where I went, and so I'm born and raised here in Florida, but I travel quite a lot if you know me. So I'm always trying to escape the heat. And yeah, I've just been really passionate about growing a lot of different social media accounts of different types of businesses over the years, and just doing it to help our local businesses here locally. So I'm really excited to have you guys here. And I want to say too that everybody's social media journey is a little bit different. And as you guys have heard from me, pizza to title insurance to now owning a social media agency, it has been a journey myself and different things, but it's given me a well-rounded background. And I never anticipated being that person teaching social media. I was the person who was on Facebook back in the day, if you want to call it that. And I would say, all my friends were on Instagram. I'm like, we don't need Instagram. I could post pictures on Facebook. What do I need Instagram for? And I was definitely the resistant against all the different social media platforms. Ironically, now Instagram is one of my favorite platforms. But it is a journey. And, people tell me all the time, well, you're young. And, I think a couple of you guys are around, probably a little bit younger and or not around the same age as me. I come from a generation that we were the last generation to know what it was like to not be reliant on social media and technology. And so, it's really funny when I hear people say like, oh, well, you're just, it because you're young. But I had to teach myself it as well over the years. And it's a lot different using it from a user perspective than from a business perspective. So I'm excited to tell you guys about some of the things that are going on in the social media world and how we can be proactive as business owners and entrepreneurs to be effective with it. So You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok as it exists today, and YouTube at Get Real Social Co. if you don't already. We have a lot of content that we post on there. We're always posting free advice and tips, and we're always trying to just provide value as well. So if you guys ever have any questions on there, me and my team are always on there to help too. And one of the things I also like to always start off these presentations with is the rankings of social media platforms, because sometimes this does shock people. And actually, because it is the beginning of the year, I've just updated these numbers, and it's crazy how much has changed. So Facebook is now over 3 billion monthly active users on their platform. And a lot of times people are like shocked by that Facebook is still the #1 social media software in the world. And even though people say Facebook is dying, it's quite, you'll hear later on just like why it is still very much booming. But that is Facebook, then YouTube being second at 2.5 billion, catching up, but that is owned by Google if you weren't aware of that. And then Instagram over 2 billion monthly active users, and these are monthly active users, so this isn't just like in general on the platform that has broken the 2 billion users. And then TikTok has grown quite a lot over the past year and a half, I would say, to now 1.6 billion, where it was at just under a billion before. So these platforms are growing exponentially, and definitely social media is becoming more relevant rather than less, which is, I know why you all are here. So and I'm going to make you guys participate a little bit, so just make sure I'm not boring you to death. So do any of these numbers shock anyone? If you want to put that in the chat. Are you like, no, I knew that? Or maybe you're like, wow, I didn't realize Facebook was #1. Don't leave me hanging here, guys. All right, let's see. Someone had an idea. Similar. All right. Thank you for your participation. All right. So we'll go on from here. So recent updates just in the last week that have happened that you may or may not have heard, because this is very relevant when we're going into 2025 here. Meta, Mark Zuckerberg came out and said that they are going to stop fact checking as much with their content, because they have been automatically blocking content, and they are coming out with less regulation on content and making it into a community notes section similar to what X has done, and pretty much leaving it into the hands of the consumer, and saying that if something is not right and shouldn't be there, that now it's up to the consumers to report it as inappropriate, and then it will be reviewed. So this is a huge shift. Them doing this after the election cycle and everything, and there was a lot of obviously upheaval with that. But really all of the kind of updates that have happened in the last week are tying a little bit back to TikTok and what's going on with that piece of the world. But because TikTok has a very open platform where people can speak on, this is specific to that and some different political things that are going on. So if you didn't hear that news, that is something that he has launched. And if you don't know, Meta is the one who owns Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp and Threads and so many things. So that is Meta, the Meta giant, and it's not quite attached to the metaverse, if that's what you're thinking either, because they did a strategic name change because they want to be the first ones in that world. So another thing that changed, I don't know if you knew or not, is that Instagram profile grid aspect ratio changed. It has been a square for as long as I believe the platform has been around, or it has since the platform began. And we were all shocked, not just like nobody was given a heads up on this. It happened randomly on Saturday or on Friday afternoon. This happened around Tuesday or Wednesday of last week. This happened on Friday. Where randomly they just started changing the feeds, and then they announced it afterwards, and I was like, what are you guys doing? So now it is 4.5, which is creating now a more vertical platform on Instagram. This is again anticipating the TikTok ban and that a lot more people are going to be flooding to these platforms and with their video content. And they also made the point that, you know, more people are doing vertical content, but a lot of people had planned out their feeds. And I know us as a social media agency that has clients that we've created content for, we had to work all weekend to change it all to the 4.5. So it's just something to be mindful of if that's something that you guys pay attention to on Instagram, but that is a huge change from Instagram itself. Of course, we had the TikTok ban this weekend as well. For 14 hours, TikTok went down and the world cried and lost their crap for 14 hours. And they did it early, so it wasn't supposed to happen until the 19th. There was talks about it nothing happening until the 20th. And then they decided to do it 8 hours early from the 19th on Saturday, and the world lost their mind. Not only did TikTok go down, but CapCut went down, which is a huge video editor that a lot of creators use. I'm not sure if any of you guys use it. If you do, please let me know. But it's a really great app that is also owned by the same company and has in turn affected a lot of creators. I know we were burnt by that a little bit, but we had things in place that we ended up changing, and yeah, now we're more prepared for the future, but it's one of those things that you never know. There was nothing, by the way, that said that CapCut would also go down. It was all focused on TikTok. So it's one of those things that kind of goes along with what's going on with our government. So that happened. And then as a result of CapCut being shut down, then Instagram, again, knowing what's going to happen with TikTok, announced that they're launching a new editor in the next month that's going to be called Edits. Very creative name. So they're launching a new editor app called Edits, an Instagram app, kind of like, I don't know why they have to call everything an Instagram app afterwards, just like they did with Threads, which Threads an Instagram app. They're again trying to create these pockets of, it's still all meta at the end of the day. But yeah, so it's good in the sense of its competition, but at the same time, it is obviously a direct them trying to get more people to use their products and services over TikTok. So it's a lot of feelings around that I have, but it's just, I look at it more of the sense just from a social media hire perspective, is that it is a little concerning from the monopoly side of things that one company is trying to kind of take it all, right? Like they're trying to get all of the traction. So it's something that we have to be mindful of as business owners, and utilizing these platforms and diversifying, like, because what if Meta goes down, right? Then if you are primarily on Facebook and Instagram and using Edits, then where do you go, right? What goes on from there? And it's a perfect example of what's going on with TikTok. There's plenty of people making money from TikTok, and now they can't, or well, they can now for another 75 days, but until something's created. The next update that happened, and mind you guys, this all happened in the last week, was that well, YouTube actually came out about a couple of weeks ago with this, but Reels just switched in the last week. Again, Meta's really going hard at the TikTok ban and like trying to pick up all of those people, but they both announced that they are moving their videos from 1.5 minutes on Instagram and 1 minute on YouTube to 3 minutes long, creating longer content, giving you the opportunity to create longer short form content, which is the vertical videos. That is huge, and something that TikTok has been doing for years now, 2 years, I think TikTok's been doing that for, and then they just in the last year have upped it to 10 minutes on TikTok, because TikTok was never worried about Facebook or Instagram. They were well, and I guess they really probably should have been, because they were coming for them, but they were more trying to compete with YouTube. So while Facebook and Instagram were trying to compete with TikTok, TikTok's like, we're not even worried about you. We're trying to compete with Google and YouTube and creating a platform that people want to spend more than just 1 minute on a video for. So these are just the recent updates that have happened. And obviously there's a lot that has happened. I don't know how much of this you guys were all aware of, but it's a very interesting time in the social media world, and things are changing every day. So something for you guys to be aware of. But this is going to be huge with 3 minutes. It gives you a little bit more, to work with. The editor app is going to be interesting to see, and we'll see what the TikTok ban comes through with. So just to kind of nip the butt with the TikTok is because I know people have probably questions about it and what it kind of means. I've been having questions asked to me about it, but there is a 75-day extension in place right now for TikTok. I would, if you do have any content on these platforms, making sure that you're downloading it now, just in case anything does happen. This is really kind of being used for political gain, unfortunately. And I'm saying this from like a very neutral standpoint of just social media, because Trump is the one who started the ban on TikTok. And now he's the one who's like trying to be the savior of it. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but essentially, and this is kind of what's interesting about us all using these free platforms, right? These platforms, I want us to all be aware about the monopolization that could be happening with all of this, with Meta taking control of a lot of these platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or not YouTube, but they have the Threads, which is like a competitor of X, and then they are now launching their editor app, and they're, just kind of taking over in that game and trying to get as much as they can. There's other apps that people are going to for TikTok, but none of them have quite matched what TikTok was offering. So naturally, there is going to be a lot that floods to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, which those were kind of the people who are the biggest proponents against TikTok. And just to kind of give you very, very brief understanding of what's going on is right now they're trying to force TikTok to sell to an American company. Not any company, not like, any company that is in China. It has to be an American company, which is, it's all about money and power at the end of the day. So it's just one of those things. And it's something for us to be aware of what's happening, because a lot of people are affected by these decisions. So I just like to put it out there because I know people have their own opinions. And I think that it's personally like our decision whether we want to use an app or not. But yeah, it's just one of those things that's kind of happening right now in the social media space, and important for us to be aware of. Some people are asking, should they even be posting on TikTok right now? And I would just say, if you are creating short form content, you never know what can happen in the next 75 days. If you're repurposing content you're already doing, might as well post it to TikTok as well. There is a lot of people on there right now, and it's being used a lot more right now, but I do think people's trust with the platform is changing a lot more, because now there's like this uncertainty, because they didn't really have to take it away for 14 hours. Like, why did they do that? Right? Why couldn't you just wait, a day? But yeah, I see a question coming in from Emily about vertical. So there's two different types of content. If you look at my screen, you have vertical, which is the up and down, your phone just staying like this, and then there's horizontal, which is the side-by-side video. So it's funny because most people want to do horizontal, and it's actually more work to do that. You have to move your phone sideways. But vertical content has been what is utilized in that short form video, which is the vertical content there. So I know vertical is used in some other aspects, and Emily, let me know if that answers, like, if you understand what I'm trying to say when I explain that. But yeah, so that's enough on TikTok, but we'll move right along. Let's talk about the trends and challenges for small businesses right now and how as it relates to you guys. So we have the trends, which some of these you might be aware of. Short form video, obviously, very big thing right now. And as it's expanding now to 3 minutes, it's going to be interesting to see how that changes the landscape. Facebook is not doing 3 minutes, only Instagram and YouTube are. There's a lot more going on there's been a push for a long time since the pandemic about authenticity and community building. It's been a huge push in the social media space, but it's really just they don't want to see fake content. They want to see real people. They want to be able to connect with people, and it's all about connection for them. Collaborations is always a great thing. If you've seen where people are collaborating with other accounts, that is a great way to grow traffic to both accounts. We're seeing a lot more with AI coming into these platforms. Every single social media platform right now is utilizing AI in some way, shape, or form to connect content with the proper people. And then of course, we all know people are utilizing AI a little bit more, and we're going to talk about those pieces and how we can kind of mesh with them in as we're moving forward. But AI is a huge piece of the pie now. And these private online communities, a lot of people are creating an online private community that they can push towards and kind of share exclusive content with. We have our own, it's our Get Real Social membership that we do. And that is a community that we've built, and we're providing value to a private online space there. So a lot of people are doing that. They also have the platform diversification. So we were kind of talking about this. The diversification, if TikTok goes away, is going to be a lot less, because it's either a platform owned by Meta or YouTube. So we're getting a little less options. YouTube is a great platform to be a part of, and I do recommend diversification with that. But another big thing that's happening is the decentralized networks. And I know this is a kind of a huge other topic that a lot of people aren't really talking about yet, because I don't think a lot of people in the space, in the social media space, are talking about it. But small business owners aren't really hearing about the decentralized. If you are, please let me know, because I'd be really curious. Or if you've already heard about kind of the decentralized internet and network of things. But Blue Sky, Threads are all supposed to be decentralized networks, which is the platforms like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube are centralized. So it's owned by one person. It's one person who's controlling not controlling the narrative, but just one person who's making the sole decisions of that. Whereas in the decentralized network space, it is more about you as an individual user saying how you want your content to be utilized. And it's connected to the metaverse in a way, and it's kind of a little bit more deeper. But things will eventually be going towards that space. It's kind of one of those things with social media that you gotta get on the boat before it leaves, and you're doing that by being a part of this class. So good job. The collaboration, I see, sorry, I had collaborations on here twice. But we have podcasts as well, huge. Obviously podcasts have been around for a very long time, but they are definitely a trend right now, and a really great way to get content. And then we also, and to collaborate with other people too, because usually podcasts have guests, even though they don't have to. But then SEO driven content. So I'm sure we've all heard it some way, shape, and form about SEO, but it's just a scary word that just means search engine optimization, which just means keywords research. That's where the focus is going. And that's where we have to be thinking about when we're creating content. The challenges, of course, is always going to be with the algorithm changing and that being something that we can't control, but there's really just a focus on the good content, not doing content that is focusing on quality rather than quantity at the end of the day. Because a lot of times as business owners, we're like, we need to get out our message, and it's not quite, it's just like, we're just focusing on that rather than, hey, what is something that is going to work best for the people who are watching what we're putting out there. And we'll talk about that a little bit more too. Managing multiple platforms effectively, obviously, is always a thing for people, because there is so much to learn and they're always changing all the time. Limited resources and budget. I tell people now, I'm like, it's 2025. If you're not investing in social media in some way, shape, and form, then you are behind the ball, because it's not something that is optional anymore, especially for businesses. So monopolized platforms, we talked about, the data and privacy, the high competition, standing out with a unique voice, rising ad costs. These are all very scary challenges that I'm sure a lot of business owners look at and they're like, but people are also getting ad fatigue because people are so quick to put to ads. And I'm sure you feel this, and I feel this when I'm on the platforms. Whenever I see an ad, I just want to swipe it away. And it's because of the authenticity piece that people want the content that speaks to them. They don't want to see something that's being forced down their throats to see. They want to see something that feels real to them. So there is getting ad fatigue there, and measuring ROI is always going to be a challenge for businesses, no matter what it comes with marketing, which ROI is return on investment. But at the end of the day, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, like how it really comes down the pike when it comes to ROI, because there is a huge benefit to social media, but not always does it equate to dollars in a direct sense. And then, of course, reputation management, a lot of misinformation getting out there. And then if someone leaves a bad review for you or whatever it might be, then it's like you can't take it off the internet and it exists there, right? So these are things in the digital space that are creating challenges for people. One thing that a lot of people like to talk about is hashtags. And I feel like the world finally just got on the board with hashtags. And sorry to say, they are going away. Like they are not as big of a player in the game as they used to be. And that's for a lot of different reasons, because we're shifting from hashtags to SEO, which is a search engine optimization. All of these platforms are now using AI. They're analyzing your videos, your content, like your pictures, your captions, what your captions are saying, and they are taking it away from hashtags being like the main way to get in front of new people. Hashtags have always been, if you've utilized hashtags in the past, they were always kind of the point of utilizing them to tag your content and categorize it. That's still relevant on certain platforms. TikTok hashtags do still serve a purpose, but being more selective. A lot of these platforms now, they don't want you to put 30 hashtags on there. Like it doesn't make them want to show your content more. Instagram's actually come out and said that hashtags don't help your content now get in front of more people. It can help with categorization. It can help with SEO in a sense, if you think about it, where SEO needs keywords. If you're using keywords in your hashtags, then it can work in a sense, but it's just not coming directly from the hashtag, if that makes sense. So it's just shifting. They're just focusing more on the keywords, and we all think about that when we're thinking about our websites and how we are on Google is keyword research. When you're searching something, are those keywords coming up? Bugs, like cockroaches, which y'all got down, right, with the cockroaches. You know, like clothing, what kind of clothing are they looking for? Like, what are the keywords that your customers are looking for, right? And how are you creating content around those specific keywords that they're looking for? Because we all do it probably without realizing it when we're on these platforms. But I go on Instagram sometimes and I'm looking for something specific, and or TikTok or Google or YouTube, right? And I'm searching for something. And that's what in my brain makes sense for me to find one of my favorite things about Google is that I could just put in 4 words about something. I'm like, what is that? What was that movie? And I'm like able to put in 4 words about a movie and it shows me the movie. And I'm like, thank you. Like whatever, it's all about connecting us with the content we want to see. So with hashtags moving forward, we want to use them sparingly. And like, if you have a branded hashtag, that can still help you SEO wise, because now you have something that is attached on all your platforms, right? Like we use hashtag #GetRealSocial on everything. So that is something that is going to help us SEO wise across platforms. But just knowing that the hashtag itself, Instagram has taken away now the pages where you can actually follow hashtags. So TikTok or Twitter X, I'll probably never get used to calling it X. Hashtags do remain slightly useful for categorization and participating in trending conversations, but again, it's just not the primary focus anymore. And LinkedIn still has hashtags that are working, but they do recommend having it be a few of the hashtags, like just choose well chosen hashtags. So those are kind of, hopefully nobody's crying over the hashtags. I feel like actually a lot of business owners are going to be happy about that, because they were confused by them to begin with and didn't really know what to do. So, you know, hopefully you're happy about that, but it does make you have to think a little bit further into your content. So what do you think the goal of all social media platforms is? Put it in the chat. Hopefully you're not sleeping yet. See if anybody gets it. I don't think anybody's heard me say this answer before. So we'll see. What is the goal of all social media platforms? Anybody? Kylie's heard me say it before. She's been around. Nobody's got a guess? Nobody wants to pipe up? See some typing. No, nobody wants to say, nobody wants to be wrong. Okay. All right. So the goal is to keep people on the platform for as long as possible. Sometimes people say ads, etc., but the whole point is to keep people on the platform. So when people tell me that nobody's looking at their content and you know, they're not getting engagement or whatever it might be, or that the algorithm's against them, I'm like, okay, the whole point of these platforms is to keep you on the platform. And if the content that you're providing, and they test your content, they put it out to a specific amount of people, and I call it the snowball effect, where they send it out to 10% of your audience, and then if they engage with it, then it sends it to the next 5%, and then the next 5%, and it snowballs your content, right? So that's why you're seeing content on Facebook sometimes a week down the road, and you're like, wait, I missed this. How did I miss this, right? Because it's a snowball effect, and it knows that people want to see that. But if your content, if it tests it with people and then nobody engages with it, and even worse, if they leave the platform after seeing something, a piece of content that you guys have posted, then that makes them not, like, they're not going to be like, well, let's just keep sending Sandra's post out there. You know, she's a hard worker and we care about her. They don't care. They don't care about us. They care about money. So they want to keep people on the platforms. And so thinking about this and shifting this mindset is really important when we're looking to post on social media. We have to analyze what we're posting and making sure that am I providing value to the people that I'm posting to? Do they want to see this? Are they swiping it away like another ad? Because we all know a lot of businesses post on their platforms and it looks like an ad, even though it's not an ad. And we need to get away from that. I'm begging people, I'm begging owners, please stop. So it's one of those things we have to be aware of in creating that content. So it's not about you at the end of the day. It's about them. It's about your clients. It's about what they need from you, but which is you solving a problem for them. So talking about that problem is what is you need to, and maybe they don't know that they have the problem, right? How do you help them find out what the problem is that you solve and then solve it for them? Or, you know, whatever that might be for them. How are you going to help them? It's the 80-20 rule, 20% selling, 80% you providing value and giving reason for them to follow you, right? Creating that community. And I say every single time in my presentations, if you take anything from my presentation, this is what I want to be seared in your head forever, okay? Is that social media is for cultivating conversations. It's about creating conversations. And if you're not creating conversations, you're doing it wrong. Okay, so you have to be engaging your audience. You have to be asking them questions. And if you're stuck on what to post, ask your audience. Like, they literally are following you. They want to hear from you. Even if you have 100 people, if you put 100 people in a room, that's a lot of people, and you'd probably be a little bit afraid to speak in front of them. So just be aware that you need to have a conversation with them and asking them what they want to hear, and or just really understanding who your target audience is and what they need to hear and how you can create a conversation with them. So I want to make a comparison because we've all done networking before, right? You can just nod your head. You don't have to do the chat since you're afraid of that. All right, we do or do not know. We all know what networking is. We've all been to a networking event to some degree. No? Okay, all right, that's all right. Sandra, you been in a networking event? No? Oh, okay. All right, well, Emily, I'm sure have you been to a networking event? Maybe hopefully this analogy hits home then. You've been to a networking event, right? Yes. Okay. Well, for those who haven't been, it's a bunch of business owners. It's a bunch of people who own their businesses, right? You go there and you are connecting with other business owners, right? There are some people who, I always compare social media to like networking on a large scale, right? There's the in-person version, which is the older school version of it, where you go out, you shake hands, you kiss babies. We all heard that terminology before, right? Shaking hands and kissing babies. Sometimes I mix that up and I don't mean to. It doesn't sound so great. But networking or social media is just like that. It's going out there and it's meeting people. And we've all been, I'm sure, in the position, especially with the pandemic, where we were posting on social media. We had added people on social media maybe before, like during the pandemic. And then all of a sudden, like, now they know who we are and like they know about my life. And some people we haven't seen in a long time, and they're like, oh, I've seen you went to Costa Rica last year, and like they're talking about my whole like last year. Oh, I've been watching you. Oh, you have. We're all like mini stalkers now on social media. So, you know, people are aware of what's going on, and it's kind of taking now a way like networking. And so in networking, it takes time to build your network, right? They say your network is your net worth. And when we are creating these social media platforms for our businesses, it's the same thing. We're building out the people who are following us, creating those loyal followers. And so I'm going to give you guys an example that happens in every single networking space, right? So you go to a networking event, you meet someone for the first time, you shake their hand, you say, hi, my name is Lucy, hi, my name is Sandra, you talk, right? Now there's some people who go to networking and they're like, hi, my name is Lucy and I sell social media services. And then they just start to sell you. Again, feels like an ad, right? And you're just like, you're not like, oh my God, I need to use you right now because you just told me what you did and I met you for 5 seconds, right? But that's how people feel sometimes on social media when they see some of these posts. So, you meet someone for the first time. What a natural progression of this is like you talk and you get to know someone and I say, oh my God, Sandra, I love your necklace. You're like, oh my God, me too. Oh, I just got it. We like connect on something, right? It's very easy for women. I don't know what men do, but for women, I feel like it's very easy for us to connect. I could like say anything and like we can find a common ground. And it is about finding common ground. Then you set up a coffee meeting to learn more, right? You get to know them, you learn more about what their business is, and then you learn more about them. So this is like if someone follows you, right? Someone follows you and then now, hey, they know a little bit more about you and they're getting to know you. They get to know you, and then there's times in networking where they may even refer you and they never even used your service before, but they feel like they trust you and they know you. It's the know, like, and trust aspect. And then when they need your service, they call, right? So this is the natural progression of networking, right? And this is very congruent to social media. So sometimes it goes from they meet you and they're like, oh my God, I need you right now. And then they do business with you. But most of the time it takes time. And so I like to compare this to social media, where social media can be overwhelming, but you want to take it bit by bit. So this is an analogy I've come up with that I want you guys to remember. And this is the 4 steps to gain clients on social media and convert strangers to sold. And that is brand awareness, being the B. You don't want to write this down. Brand awareness B. I is for interest, which brand awareness is just them never hearing about your page before, you coming across their platform and now they follow you, right? The interest is when they follow you. If they like your content, if they see your page and then they're like, oh yeah, I really like what they have to say and they want to continue the relationship, continue the conversation, that's when they're going to follow you. And now they're interested. They're not a client yet though, right? So they're interested. And then when they continue to see your content, that's when they've gained trust, right? We've all have content creators or people that we follow that we have never met them and or we have never done business with them, right? We can all agree with that. And we trust them, or we feel like we would refer them to someone, right? We've all been in that position, maybe. Yes, potentially. Yes. Okay. All right. Just making sure y'all with me. And then we have sold. So then once they trust you, then when they need your service, they call, right? And we hope that, and we will keep and stay top of mind. That's what social media helps us do, is to stay top of mind. And so I always say social media is top of funnel. And this is something really important to understand from a marketing perspective, is that this is traditional marketing, the awareness, interest, decision, and action, right? And this is digital marketing, where we have awareness and engagement, right? They're following you on social media, the consideration where they're interested, they're thinking about working with you. I have people who tell me that they're like, oh, I'm interested in working with you, whatever, but they don't pull the trigger yet, right? But they're in that phase where they trust and they want to do something, but they haven't made it make sense for them, whatever that might be for them. But then there's remarketing and understanding that piece of things, email list, reposting on social media. Now that you've interested them, how are you continuing to facilitate the conversation and get the ball going where you can continue to provide value? And then they turn into the conversion. There's a lot more that goes into the marketing piece of getting clients than just posting on social media. If you're just posting on social media hoping that people are going to just like immediately use you, you're having the wrong mindset, right? Because that's where we go back to the, hey, you just met me and now you need to do business with me. People want the instant gratification of that, but it just doesn't happen like that. So we have to be aware of that. as marketers and as business owners, that it does take work and trust to build. And how are we taking, you guys are on this call right now, right? You guys now have your email in my system. Now you're going to get about other webinars that we have, right? If you don't become a client now, right? It's you're in the funnel of I'm creating conversation with you guys and making sure that we are helping you, but continuing to provide value. And if you've never, if this is your first webinar, put it in the chat, because I would love to know if this is the first webinar you've ever been a part of. But you know, I always provide value in my newsletters that I send out every month. So it's like I'm continuing to create relationships on social media, on my email list, etc., because that is what it's all about, is creating relationships that help other people. And then if they feel like we are something that is going to be valuable for their business, then I trust that we will get to that point. So that is that. So if you hear me saying top of funnel, or if you hear anybody talk about top of funnel, that's where social media is. It's at the top of this funnel. It's your job to get them through this funnel to becoming a client. And so in order for business to thrive, we have to build a community. If we are not building a community, then we cannot be effective truly as business owners. And it's a little bit different than just utilizing the platforms mindlessly. And so we want to make sure we're being responsive and present, asking questions to our audience. We kind of talked about this, giving value, not just promotional posts, and incentivizing our followers to actually want to share our content and create a relationship where they feel like they trust that, right? We all see that's shareable content. And we want to show appreciation to our followers too, because a lot of times people are always so focused on new followers that they forget about the people who already follow them, right? Think about the people who already are following you and how you can continue to provide value for them, and more people will come. And acknowledging the positive and negative feedback that you get, because that shows that you are communicative business and collaborating with others. So, okay, who thinks billboards work? Anybody? Anybody? Yes or no? Yes or no? There's a lot of people who spend a lot of money on billboards, right? And I don't think, for some of you guys in here, I don't think I really have to like hit home with this, but it always gets me that like people spend so much money on billboards, but they spend no money on social media. And I'm like, I don't even comprehend. It doesn't even compute, because on social media, you can track exactly how many eyes have seen. Whereas like, I don't know how many billboards I pass on the road, and I never, like, I see maybe 1 or 2 of them, and there's like a million that I've passed, right? And so there's no guarantee. It's hard to track ROI. And I always say, like, people don't expect the ROI on a billboard, right? But they expect it through social media. But we just talked about it being top of funnel. So I think y'all are good there anyways. So let's talk about the AI era really quick and how this is impacting social media, because it is very important. And this is going to help you create a social media strategy here and moving forward if you guys aren't already utilizing AI. So as we know, AI is not going away. It's only getting more and more rampant as the days go on. And it is essential for businesses to embrace in this new era of business. If your businesses that you work for and our own are not embracing social media in some way, shape, or form, you are behind the ball, and you need to embrace it in some way. And just understanding, like, whatever that's going to do to make your lives easier, it will make your lives easier, but the people who are resistant against it are going to end up being behind, and now you're not going to be able to compete with your competitors who are utilizing AI, right? So because it creates a more effective environment, and I'm going to show you some ways that you guys can utilize it, but I do want to know who has used ChatGPT before. Yes, nod something. Yes, raise your hand. People, yes. If you hate the chat, you can just nod. Not yet. Okay, well, today you're going to get learned today, all right, with ChatGPT. But any other AI softwares or anything then? No? Just, all right. I know a lot of people are afraid of AI. Like, I get it. Like, it's a lot, and there's a lot that goes on with it. But this will change your life, I promise you, when you start to utilize this in the proper way. Canva does have AI, and it is great. And so does, yes, LinkedIn. So there are some great AI softwares out there. ChatGPT is like the first one that launched the public in such a public way. Like, it's just easy use. People can go to it, use it for free, etc. There's obviously a lot of paid models now. But ChatGPT is actually amazing. It's one of my favorites of the ones that I've tried. We test AI products all the time. We're always telling our membership like the ones that we are utilizing the most. But yeah, for business letters, blogs, etc. Yes, you do want to make sure that you're still putting the human touch on it though. One second. I don't know why my hand is up. I think I use my hands when I'm speaking, so it thinks I'm like raising my hand to speak to myself, I guess, but I don't know. I've like my two screens here. It's not letting me put my hand down. Okay. Can I like undo it? Well, all right. Well, I could just raise my hand to myself. That's fine. Not letting me do it. Yeah, AI. So ChatGPT. What's really great about the paid, if you guys aren't using, let me know if you're using the paid version or not. If you're using the free version, there is a lot you can do with the free version. The paid version is mind blowing because you can actually create your own assistant and doppelganger. And I have done so. Her name is Lucinda. She's awesome. I love her. She knows me. She knows all my businesses. She knows about my nonprofit. She knows about my talking style. She knows like what I like to do. She knows I like to travel. She knows all the things. And I've trained her to know these things. And what's really cool is you can have these AI. She even kind of looks like me. Look at her. She's like a little cuter, but that's okay. So you can create these AI assistants that are pre-trained to know, like you train it with the information, and then you can now have a conversation, right? A lot of people are using these ChatGPT models as like input output, and it's not like that. This is like an ongoing conversation. And that's what they don't realize with ChatGPT, because most of the tools we use are input output, right? So AI is a lot different, and it's a learning model. So I put in information, it learns, I can correct it. I can say, well, no, this was great, this wasn't good. I'm very nice to my AI. Some people are mean to theirs. My best friend, she's like a little sassy, and she's like, oh, I'm mean to mine. I'm like, well, if the robots come for us, I want them to remember that I was nice because they don't forget. No, but anyways. So you can create your own AI assistants. And so what you can do is, it's called priming your AI. I was strategic enough to actually ask my AI. I was like, give me 20 questions you need to know about me as a business in order to understand me and my business. And it pops out these questions, right? 20 questions. You guys can take a picture of this if you want. You can ask your own questions. But if you give it, the more information you give it, the better it will create for you. And so this is where we are priming and training our AI to understand what we do, knowing about our business, and sometimes it asks you questions that you didn't even realize you needed to ask yourself about your business, right? Like, what's your brand voice? A lot of people don't even think about that when they're posting. So it's a really great thing and to utilize, and you can ask it any question. I have it even create food plans for me. It's quite effective. And there's many things you can do with it. So highly recommend like checking that out. If you're not utilizing ChatGPT right now in the paid version, then at least use the free version and just kind of check out like some of the things that you can do. And I'm gonna give you a couple of prompts that you can use for creation of strategy. So if you want to get 30 content ideas, it's not even in a few minutes, it's in a few seconds, you can do so right with these prompts. So I want you to take a picture of this, write it down, whatever you want to do. Is you're going to prompt your AI. So you're going to start a thread with your AI, and you're going to say, I want you to do some research for me, and I want you to act as a social media expert. Tell me 10 frustrations, 10 desires, and 10 fears that insert your target audience. You do need to know your target audience, right? And that's not business owners, or that's not, anyone in the state of Florida. No, like you need to think about, like, be as specific as possible. If you're catering to 20 to 40-year-old woman entrepreneurs, the more specific you are, the better. But you can put general if you want, and you can kind of see what it does, but it will give you really good things if you're very specific. Then experience with and your area of focus, right? So mine would be social media marketing, right? Yours would be pest control, we've got clothes, we've got coaching, life coaching, right? So you put in that area of focus, and then you can tell it to put it in a nice little table for you. So when we do that, it then outputs in a few seconds some different options for you. Tells you the frustrations, fears, and desires. These are the things that people in your target audience are feeling. So I put business owners who are small to medium business owners with little to no marketing help. and experience with social media marketing, which is my target audience, right? So difficulty measuring ROI, increased brand awareness, generating more leads and sales, building a loyal, engaged following. You know, these are desires, the fears, concern with not keeping up with trends. I'm sure some of you guys are relating to some of these things that it just put out for me to create content on, right? So it gives you a starting point for your content. This is a really great place. Some people say, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to create. This is how you can create something very quickly in a couple of seconds where it gives you a starting point. And then if you want to take a picture of this, this is creating a content calendar that you can utilize. And again, this, I'm telling you to tell it to give you a 30-day content calendar, but you don't need to use it every day. People like assume that I mean you need to post every day, and that is not what I'm saying. You could take the 30 ideas and post it over the year if you want. So just, it's to give you 30 ideas, and then you can tell it to focus on short form video, etc. And you can have it alternate between strategy topics, inspirational quotes, personal stories, how-to guides. And I've used these and had people use these, and they were mind blown with what it was coming up with in this content calendar. So this is something that you guys can utilize prompting. And you see how this isn't a small prompt. Some people are like, give me a content calendar for my business. And then like it just produces. But if you're very specific, it'll give you a lot more. And then you can see that even the 30-day calendar it gave me, I kind of pulled some of the best ones that I liked, where it gives you, you know, from that, your content pillar, personal connection, personal story. Here's how I overcame the fear of video content, right? And then sharing, it gives me how to do it, like what to say in the video, and then what it's speaking to, the fear, frustration, and desire. We're doing this in the same thread. And then you're able to kind of create content pieces around that. So hopefully that gives you guys a starting point. But you guys want to make sure that you guys aren't so focused. You don't have to post every single day. Post consistently. And if that means twice a week, right, then stick with twice a week. Once a week if you have to. Get on a routine, and you can always add more to it later. All right. But this is a starting point. And so here's just like, if you guys need the free versus paid option, like I said, you get your own like little mini doppelgangers you can create if you do the $20 a month. But the free version gives you a lot too. It just limits how much you can actually converse with it, but it will keep everything if you create an account and such. So ChatGPT is pretty powerful. So you want to make sure that you're understanding the why behind your posts, and you are being intentional behind that content, sharing bite-sized information. A lot of times we want to overshare on these platforms where people's attention spans just aren't there. So give them bite-sized information, be engaging, be relatable, and don't waste their time and attention when you do have it. And that will go a lot further. And don't forget to be human, because we're all human at the end of the day, right? We all have feelings and emotions and all those fun things in us. So like, we have to share that with others. And people want to see that from businesses. They want to see businesses being more unique, standing out. I mean, Ben's Pest Control is a great example, because her mom, if you don't follow Ben's Pest Control, and really Pestine, you should, because they have a cockroach outfit that her mom wears, and it's hilarious and it's amazing. And I love it. Like, and it's fresh and creative, and it's not taking it seriously, because it's bugs. Like, nobody likes bugs. It's scary, but they're making it funny, and that is pure gold. So just like, I love Christine, and I think she's amazing. So yeah, it's just something to like be aware of when we're thinking about our brand, that we don't need to be this stuffy version of the brand that we've created, right? Like, I'm sure every other pest control company is just out there like, make sure you check for the bugs and call us. Like, it's really sad. So, you know, just don't be like what they think you need to be. So like I was talking about, getting on that social media calendar, create a plan 2 times a week even. That's a great goal to start with, and or 1 time a week. And then you can break it down. We do it by month. So if we have 2 posts a week, then we're 8 posts a month, and then planning it out that way in chunks so that you can be a little bit more effective with that. So I know we're running a little bit low on time, but if you guys want, I hope you guys, do you guys find it helpful? How are you guys feeling? Feeling good after this hour, a little bit rejuvenated? All right, hopefully not so scared of social media. Okay, good. We love that. So if you guys are ready to take the next steps and you want to learn a little bit more about what we do on the back end and how we facilitate this for the people that we work with, we have our Get Real Social membership. I believe I mentioned it earlier, where some of the things that we offer, but this is something that we've created for marketers and business owners to be a part of. And we really wanted to make it just a complete resource center for you guys to get access to experts regularly. So not only myself, but my team. So just a little bit of the testimonies of what people have said, but they're excited to have found us. Anyone looking to elevate their social media presence and skills, and that they should come to us. And then thank you for everything that we do. Not only have we helped them find new and effective strategies for social media marketing, but we've been extremely caring. Every time I reread these, I'm like, oh, that's so nice. But supportive, understanding, and flexible. And they've learned to manage their time and organize their priorities in more ways than one. So, we really care about the people that we work with, and we really want to make sure that you guys are succeeding. But if you do join the membership, you get access to a ton of information. You get to connect with like-minded business owners and marketers in our private community that is exclusive to just them, access to our all-in-one social media management portal, which is a solution to all the social media platforms being separated. You get access to that management portal. You get a free onboarding session with us and the team, and we get you set up and we teach you how to use our systems and everything so that you can be more effective. We do a monthly 1.5 hour accountability group Zoom call every month. And that is where we are giving you guys a little bit of a lesson, but also making sure we're holding you accountable to your goals. So if you have 2 posts a week that are your goals, and we are helping you to stay accountable to those goals that you have set for yourself. And then, we don't do any shaming. We only do encouraging. So if you don't hit them, we're like, how can we help you to get to the next piece? We also do a weekly Q&A call, which is just open question and answer. People come to that just sometimes they hear what other people's questions are. And we're just there as a resource weekly. You get access to our exclusive training library, expert coaching, and personalized content goal setting. And then we also have our free courses and resources on the back end too. So you get access to every single course I've ever made. I just threw it all into the membership so that it could be as effective as possible for you guys. And only our members get to rewatch all of our webinars that we do, and can rewatch those. Whereas we don't have replays for other people, but for those who come. But we also do discounts on in-person workshops that we do throughout the year. And there's even discounts on one-on-one coaching if that's something that you are interested in. So we really try to provide as much value as possible with this. And all of this is only for $375 per month that we offer. And this is a value of over $2,000 a month. Is insane what we provide for this amount. It's even more than that, honestly, with the amount of time we give. We give access to our management software, but also you can ask us questions and me and my team questions at any point. So we really try to be a resource for you guys as much as possible. And right now we are actually offering something for the first time ever, we have decided. And that is a 7-day free trial of our software. So you can actually be a part of our coaching program. We'll do the onboarding session with you, and you will get to try out our systems and softwares for 7 days. And we will get you into the system. You can see exactly what it is. Because even when I explain all of these things, sometimes people when they see it, they're like, oh, wow. And then they realize how much it has. So you also get locked into that price. So if we ever do price increases in the future, which we have over the years done price increases, because we continually are adding value to the back end of our resource library, you will be locked into that price for as long as you are a member. So that is our membership. And, I always like to tell people you can do 1 day or you can make it day 1. And that's really up for you to decide on where you are at with that. We're here with you either way, and we're happy to help in whichever way we can help you with. And if you want to become a member, you can go ahead and scan the QR code right there. I can also maybe have Kylie drop it in the chat if she's able to pull that. And Patricia says, with all of the medias available, should we be on all platforms? That's a great question. And with the platforms, you should have a profile on all platforms. So we actually do what's called a social media brand deep dive, but we encourage everybody to get your username, like you saw at the beginning, how I have Get Real Social Co for everything. Get that on every single platform. Make sure your pages are set up, that they're connected properly. A lot of times people set these up at different times and they aren't consistent. And if someone does come to a platform, you want, if there's no content on that platform that you are actively posting to, you want them to have a easy way to get to the platform where you do. So if you are repurposing content, I do recommend, don't overwhelm yourself though. Like, don't feel like you need to be posting every single platform all the time, right? I always tell people to start small and then grow. Our management software helps you to make it, like if you're on these platforms, you're able to connect them and you can post the same post and modify it in small pieces. And we teach you how to do that to every platform, so that you are utilizing and that you're on. So that's what we help to kind of fix a little bit, where you're now able to make your efforts of one post and multiply it. So does that answer your question, Patricia? With being on those platforms and everything? How many people, what kind of platforms are you guys using right now? And also just go ahead and throw that in the chat. Like, is it Facebook and Instagram? Anybody on LinkedIn, YouTube? What's your guys' favorite platforms? And while you guys are putting that in the chat, you know, if you want a little bit more information and you guys do want to make today day one, instead of one day, you can also set up a free 30-minute consultation with me. And you can scan the QR code here, and we can also get that set up so that we can talk about a little bit more of your goals and just kind of have a social media, we call it a social media clarity call, where we just understand a little bit more of your goals, where you're at, and what are some best next steps. And maybe the membership is for you, or maybe it's not. And we're totally okay with either of that. We want to make sure that we help you guys succeed. So Sandra says Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok. Yeah, those are great. That's a great starting point. And our software does post to Pinterest as well. So yeah, and what's great about Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok too is with the short form content and just reposting the short form content to those is a game changer as well. So what platforms would you recommend for businesses to be on? We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. So what usually most businesses start with, because it's the easiest and most familiar, is Facebook and Instagram. So I always tell people, you know, but again, we talked about platform diversification, right? So at least getting Facebook and Instagram under control, like, and getting consistent posts out there and making sure that, hey, you're engaging your audience. Because if you're creating posts and then we're not getting anything, like no likes, no engagement, or anything, that's where it's like we have to analyze, why is that happening, right? And we do that with analytics, but we also, it's about tweaking your content. And so that's something that we always try to help people with too, is like, especially our clients that are in our coaching, we talk about, we're like, hey, if this didn't get as much traction, what can we do to adjust this? Because with social media, it's all about revamping what you're doing and seeing what works and then taking what works and duplicating it, right? So the best platforms to be on, yeah, like I said, I think it's the easiest to start with are Facebook and Instagram. And if you're doing video already, because I know not everybody is doing video, if you're doing video already, it's great to put it to TikTok and YouTube as well. And there are different pieces, again, like when we were teaching our software on the back end, like there are ways that you can, very important things for you to change in order for it to be a little bit more effective on one platform versus the other. Because some people just copy and paste the same caption, et cetera, to all platforms, which can work. I mean, if you never posted to those platforms before, something's better than nothing, right? But there are some different strategies you can do to make sure that it's just getting in front of your actual target audience. And that's like with keywords and et cetera, just because the platforms are a little bit different. Or not even a little bit, but a lot. So Facebook, LinkedIn, and others as time allows is what Patricia does. Also Alignable and Nextdoor. So Alignable and Nextdoor are more of those neighborhood apps and everything. So those are a little bit different. I wouldn't necessarily call them like wouldn't call them like a social media platform. I would really call them more of just like a neighborhood resource, or like a resource platform. Like it's really for like networking and connecting with people and like referring services. And it's more, it's not bad to be on them by any means, but I think it's just more of a community platform that's a little bit different than some of the social media platforms traditionally. But still good to be a part of, and glad that you are on. LinkedIn's great too. It's good for business, B2B business. If businesses are your forte of your clients. And on YouTube, do the reel style videos or the longer form content work better? So that's a really great question. When it comes to YouTube, I call YouTube the long con. It is, it takes a lot of work. Both are valuable and both have their own growth methods. Long form content on YouTube lasts forever. So it definitely is valuable, but it takes a lot of time. And it's a lot of times people just like post videos to YouTube, and there's a lot more strategy that kind of goes behind, because it lasts forever, because it's so SEO driven, because it's got a lot of very specific things to pay attention to on the back end to make sure that it's as effective as possible. The title company I used to work for, I just checked out their YouTube the other day and I was like, dang, they're still getting views on these videos I put up. Like, I should be getting some of the, like, if they're getting paid at this point, like, they're still gaining followers. They're still, one of their videos have like gone viral just because nobody, like, what title company is making YouTube videos? Like, none. So we did, and it changed the game. And I've actually, every year I go to a conference called Social Media Marketing World out in San Diego. My team and I are going again this year. Very excited. And so I actually met one of the largest YouTubers, and he is, many large YouTubers go there, but there is this one, and of course his name is escaping me right now. I think it's John. Is his name John? Can't remember his last name, but like I remember his logo because it's like this mustache, and like he has his like bald head or whatever. It's like part of his logo is his bald head and like a mustache or whatever. But he's a plumber in Texas. I see like the wheels turning for Brooke. She probably even knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, like, and I don't know why his brain, like, it's his name isn't coming to my head right now, but he is a plumber and he started doing YouTube videos, and now he's like one of the biggest YouTubers. His business is booming, and like it's because he did it for plumbing, and he now teaches other people how to be plumbers. So YouTube's a great platform to be on, but it takes a lot of work, time, effort, and energy, and a lot of people and business owners and marketers just don't have the time, marketing budget, etc. to do it. But it's definitely good to think about. So in the short answer of my very long answer I just gave, the short reels is going to be the easiest to enter, because if you're doing that on Facebook and Instagram already, then now you can do that on YouTube and enter that space a little bit. And then when you're ready to take the plunge into the long form content, there's an entire strategy behind that. But we help with that too, if something you guys are looking to do. So luckily my YouTube channel that I created in 2020 is still getting content, and I still get people now actually like commenting, because it's a travel YouTube channel that I created, and they're like, when are you going to post videos again? And I'm like, I wish I had time to post to my travel YouTube channel. Like, but it was very endearing. I just got my like 2024 recap, and I like gained 100 followers last year, and I haven't posted in like 2.5, 3 years. I haven't posted in 3 years. So yeah, it's a cool platform. And Kylie, can you drop the link for the consultation? It's our contact page on the website in there. And I know we've been kind of doing Q&A already. I just wanted to get to that final Q&A screen. Is there any other questions that anybody has? Or you guys have some great questions. I'm glad that I hope you guys found it helpful. And yeah, if you guys want to set up a 30-minute consultation, we're here. And you also have this access to the school if you guys want to check that out. And I just want to remind you guys that you guys can do anything. All right. It's all about the journey, you guys. And I don't want you to feel super overwhelmed with social media. I find a lot of times people actually find it more enjoyable than they realize when they get started. And it just takes time to get the ball rolling. But consistency is more important than getting out a ton of content, and it will save you a lot of headache in the future. So I'll stay for a couple more minutes if anybody has any questions. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, I hope to have a call with a couple of you guys if you guys have any other questions, burning desires.
I was just gonna say we're already posting on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook twice a week.
Great.
So we do like a tip of the week on Monday. And we don't really post anything ad wise
Yeah.
on any social media platforms. It's just informative video. My dad loves to tell people about all of the sorts of pest stuff, so it's all just informative. Do you recommend just posting those to like just taking that and moving it to YouTube? Should I be posting them on Twitter or X as well? I don't know Twitter very well, so
Yeah, Twitter, I mean, in my opinion, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, is like at the bottom of the totem pole, in my opinion, just because it's like such a weird, and I don't know, it's been weird since Elon took it over and everything. So
it is odd.
yeah, it's an odd thing. Honestly, I would look into Threads. So Threads is a competitor of X, and you can post to that as well. And that you can post videos. I mean, you can post videos X too, but yeah, I think there's a lot more promise in Threads, even though it is owned by Meta, like everything else now. But I would also, you know, if you guys are already posting consistently on your platforms, I always before like, and you can repurpose those to other platforms 100%, because one piece of content that does well on one platform or doesn't do well on one platform might do better on another platform. But what really, and I've, you know, talked with Christine too and everything, and like I think that it's all about like when you guys are posting, right? You know, we can get up to this goal of, okay, we've been at 2 times a week, right? But before we go up to 3 times a week or any more than that, looking at the analytics of what you guys are doing, if you guys haven't deep dived into your analytics of like, hey, how is this working? There are so many tweaks that you can do to content to make it better. So looking at how are people engaging with the content right now, and then if you ever do want to do ads in the future, I tell people like we focus on no ads. Like we are all about creating content that is valuable enough that people want to see it, because I personally believe that it is more powerful for people to want to see your content. If people see your content and they get excited and they're like, oh my God, I want to see your content. Like, oh, it's Pestine, or oh, it's Ben's Pest Control, right? Then you've now created raving fans, right? It's not you forcing something in front of them, telling them to watch it. And then when you figure out what people like from there and what actually performs well, then you can put ads behind it. And that you now know it's pre-tested content. So that's something that a lot of business owners don't think of when they automatically want to go to ads. But I think that there's a lot of tweaking. I've, you know, seen some of the content. I think there's tweaking that you guys could be doing on the back end to make your content even more effective. And there's just like tips and tricks of just how to do that on the back end. So obviously that's a one-on-one conversation, but
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people just don't think about that. They like they hit their goal and then they're like, okay, like let's post more. And I'm like, wait, like analyze what you're doing right now. Like, is it working? Is it not? Like, is it creating conversation? Is it, where are we at, you know, and how, and
Okay.
it's always about continually being better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope you guys didn't snore too much and you enjoyed it. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, we will be here, and I'll put, thank you, Sandra. Awesome. Looking forward to it. And here is my email if anyone wants to shoot me over an email. And yeah, we're here to help if you guys have any questions. And yeah, and we got Kylie on here too. So she's always here if you have any questions too. Either talking to me or her, probably, if you're talking to us. Awesome. Well, you guys have a great day, and we will see you soon. And we do these webinars every month, so make sure to tune in next month. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thank you.